Hi everyone, this is Lauren Steiner here from the Robust Opposition, and I'm reporting to you from the Medford, Oregon airport, where I'm about to board a flight back to Los Angeles. I just read an article that Christine Ford is receiving death threats, and therefore she is definitely not testifying on Monday. The reason I'm making this short video, and I'm only going to go for a couple minutes, is I am beginning to feel that Dianne Feinstein made exactly the right decision for the right reasons. And I say that as no fan of Dianne Feinstein. As people know, along with Ben Becker, I started the Retire Feinstein movement in California and organized several protests of her, trying to get her to hold town halls, trying to get her to resign. I'm not a huge fan of Kevin DeLeon. Haven't decided how I'm going to vote yet. I do see that he's gotten her to move to the left on several issues, which of course is good. I do believe that she is going to retire if she gets reelected. I think she will get reelected. She is going to retire after a year. A deal has been made. The new governor, who's going to be Gavin Newsom, is most probably going to appoint Eric Garcetti to that position. The fix was in, and I've reported on this earlier. But right now, I have to credit Dianne Feinstein because I think she knew what she was talking about, and she took a lot of shit from people, including Kevin DeLeon, from holding on to this information. But what we see happening is probably what she knew would happen, because let's not forget, Dianne Feinstein entered the Senate in 1992. She was part of the Year of the Woman, because this happened after the confirmation hearings for Anita Hill. And we remember that Joe Biden was the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, and it was a very shameful moment that people should not let him forget, and they should not let the people forget, and the people who weren't born then should make them aware of the fact that Joe Biden could have called women who could have corroborated Anita Hill's testimony, and he chose not to. And he even admits that was a mistake now. And she had to face the most horrible grilling in which her character was on trial. And it was horrible. And, you know, she has now come back into the forefront with the Me Too movement, in which everybody is really crediting her with being the first to endure all that horrible, you know, a backlash to her reporting on Clarence Thomas's harassment. But really, when you think about it, what he did was harassment, which is not as bad, of course it's bad, but it's not as bad as what Brett Kavanaugh allegedly did to Christine Ford, which is actual assault. So now, let's go back. What happened in July was Christine Ford asked her Congresswoman, Anna Eshoo, she made her aware of these charges. Anna Eshoo, in turn, let Dianne Feinstein know. Christine wanted her Congresswoman and her Senator to know. So she knew. Now, it's interesting why she didn't let Kamala Harris know, because Kamala Harris, who's also on the Judiciary Committee, might have been more likely to report it to the other Senate Democrats. So it's kind of interesting in retrospect to see how she chose Feinstein and how Anna Eshoo chose Feinstein, maybe because she's the ranking member of the Senate Judiciary to report these allegations to. But, you know, we know full well that the corroborating evidence is weak. I'm not saying it's not powerful. I'm not saying it doesn't convince me, because it does. She reported it to a therapist in 2012. She reported to other friends. But at the time, she didn't report it. She doesn't remember what month it was, whose party it was. And the guy that she has, the only witness, is like a parent, like high school drunken asshole who is also extremely conservative and refuses to come forward, and she probably knew that that would be the case. And if you look at the testimony or the comments that she and her lawyer made, they said very specifically that she did not want to be public about this. She wanted the FBI to investigate the information, and that's why Dianne Feinstein finally gave it to the FBI. Now, what you could say, what you could fault Feinstein for doing, is not giving it to the FBI in July when she found out about it. But I don't know if the FBI, like I've been listening to a lot of commentary on this, if the FBI were to interview people, it really is a he said, she said kind of situation. because the one direct eyewitness is insisting that he doesn't remember Kavanaugh doing anything like this. He doesn't remember any such party, and he wouldn't even come forward to testify in front of the committee. So now what we see happening is she's getting death threats, she's refusing to come forward and testify, and I fear that it's going to actually make his confirmation easier, because it is going to make it look like it was an 11th hour desperate move by the Democrats to try to stop his confirmation. So I think in retrospect that Dianne Feinstein, by saying she wanted to focus on the legal differences that Brett Kavanaugh has rather than these personal character issues, was a very wise move. So I do want to give her credit for that, because what we see happening now, in my opinion, is going to cause the sympathy vote for Brett Kavanaugh, and quite frankly, I don't think Collins was ever going to vote against him. She really needs to be voted out of office, and I am so glad that that fund now has over $1 million to it. I plan to contribute to it because she needs to know that her vote has consequences. And quite frankly, she's saying if he lied about it, that's going to be a problem. Disturbing that she's not saying if he did it, it's going to be a problem, only that he lied about it. So she already knows that he lied about seeing the Manny Miranda memos. Anyone who's watched my show with Lisa Graves, who wrote those memos that Manny Miranda stole and made available to, the committee, knows that Brett Kavanaugh has already perjured himself. And it's also really interesting that Ryan Grimm's recent reporting shows that they are not willing to bring forward other witnesses who can attest to the fact that Kavanaugh perjured himself when it came to saying he didn't know anything about Alex Kaczynski, who was the Chief Justice of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in California, who just had to resign as a result of the Me Too movement. So for him to say that he was not made aware of Alex Kaczynski's behavior when there are actual emails that people can bring forward and the committee is not hearing them is very disturbing. Anyway, I'm nervous that I'm going to miss my flight, so I'm going to sign off now, but I did want to let people know that I think that this is not a good development. I think he's going to be confirmed, and I think history is going to show that Dianne Feinstein made the right decision here. Over and out.